Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. Oh, hey!
And we're live.
Live?
Or Memorex. You know how I know we're live?
How?
Larry's here with us.
Larry? How you doing, Larry?
Doing great.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Of the People.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm Robert Chernin. That was Ericka Redic, who
and
went
I'm
somewhere.
Ericka Redic.
Who went somewhere.
This is going to be crazy. You guys, we're going to be a little bit crazy today because we're on the fly, live, in studio.
We are in studio. Tomorrow is Israel Appreciation Day. And, you know, we were debating whether or not to even do the podcast to see if you guys would miss us. Because tomorrow is such an important day.
Yes.
But we decided that you would miss us. Mm-hmm. So here we are.
Yeah.
But we're live on location at Worry Studio in Las Vegas, where Israel Appreciation Day, an epic, first of its kind event, is going to be broadcast live across the country, across the world, about all the reasons that Israel's important, not just because it's a Jewish state, not just because it's a U.S. ally, but everything else that people don't know about Israel, as evidenced by all the college protesters who have no idea what they're protesting.
No idea.
But we wanted to start and introduce to you some of the people behind the scenes who helped make Israel Appreciation Day a reality and the success that it's going to be. And we're going to start with Larry Ward, president of Political Media, who, full disclosure, he used to be a friend until he got me into all of this. But without Larry Ward, we wouldn't be here. And Larry, Political Media does so many good things. Tell us, in your own words, Larry, why Israel Appreciation Day was so important to you, because it was you who first came to me and said, hey, I got an idea.
Well, that's exactly it. Look, Robert had come to me a number of months ago, right as October 7th happened, and he said, you know, we've got to do something in support of Israel, and just keep thinking about ways that we can support Israel, and of course, seeing what happened on October 7th and the
horrible,
on the atrocity and essentially Israel's 9/11. How could you stop thinking about what happened on October 7th? And I was having a conversation with Carter Clues, who's works with me at Political Media, and Carter reminded me that we had done something a number of years ago called Gun Appreciation Day, when the Second Amendment was under attack in 2013, and we turned out 500,000 people around the country to help protect the Second Amendment. And we turned the conversation, really what Gun Appreciation Day did was it turned the conversation from the liberal narrative of gun control to gun rights, and how gun rights were intended to to protect our liberties, to protect the rest of our freedoms, and not, it wasn't just hunting and quote unquote assault rifles, that there was a purpose behind the Second Amendment, and we wound up protecting the Second Amendment in 2013. There were no gun control laws passed then, and so far it really has stuck. The gun rights narrative and the history behind gun rights is really stuck as a talking point. So when I started to see what was happening on college campuses, and like you mentioned, all these dunces who are walking on campus, just chanting from the river to the sea, and spewing these talking points from pro-Hamas, a pro-Hamas terrorist perspective, but just spewing this anti-Semitism all over the place without having any knowledge, without having any history, without having any appreciation for what Israel is, what Israel has been throughout the millennia, and what Israel since 1948 has really contributed to the world. Yeah. And so we wanted a way to demonstrate why we appreciate Israel as Americans and as people who love Western culture, and as Christians. I'm a Christian. We wanted to demonstrate why we appreciate Israel and why it's so important in the world, and that's where we came up with the idea to kind of change the narrative and to educate some of these ignorant kids on college campus, and regular people in the street around the world. You know, it's real important for us to have an idea and to actually present, you know, the triumphs and tragedies of Israel.
You know, I appreciate that. And, you know, Ericka, the point really is a lot of people that are coming together for this show don't agree on a lot of other things,
Yes.
right? And one of the things that we've tried to do, and that you and I always talk about, is we can disagree on a lot of things, but we have to put down our differences and find what we agree on.
Yes.
So this is nonpartisan, right?
Yep.
People use the word bipartisan, which I don't like.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure I really believe in bipartisan as much as I believe in nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan. I like
But
that.
also interfaith, because just Jews supporting Jews doesn't move the needle, and it certainly doesn't change the narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're clearly not in control of the narrative.
That's right.
As you see it, right? So what are you seeing? So you're down south.
Yeah.
What are you seeing down south for support for Israel?
I have to be honest with you, it's better down south than it is up in the northeast, where we're seeing a lot of the protests. There definitely were some things happening
What about college campuses?
on the Austin UT campus, but you're not hearing about it widespread. And I think a big part of that is because we're in the Bible Belt. We are surrounded by Christians, particularly, I'm sure there's all kinds of faiths there, but there's a plurality of Christians who understand that we're cousins, like Jewish people and Christians, we're cousins. We worship the same God.
We're cousins?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Hi, cuz.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, cuz? You know, we like Israel is our homeland too. It is. So for me personally, I know that a lot of this comes from my faith. You know, we talk a lot about the only democracy in that hemisphere and how we need to protect that and why it's so important. Personally, I understand that as a political matter, but as a Christian, I want to protect Israel. I want to protect the sanctity of that land. I want to be able to go visit there. And it is my response. I see it as my responsibility to stand up for the Jews. Like, you are God's chosen people. The God that I worship said that the Jewish people are his people. And the Messiah that I follow was Jewish. I know that surprises some people, you know, but Jesus was Jewish. And so the idea that we wouldn't be full force in support of the Jewish people and Israel, you know, I think that is the benefit of being down south. Just that.
So I should move from New England and move down south, because I live in blue New England.
Yeah, I mean, that's what.
Of course, DC's no better, you know.
Hey, DC is not better by any stretch of the imagination. You know, but there are, like you said, there are a lot of Christians who do support Israel. One of the church I go to is pastored by Pastor Gary Hamrick, and he did a fantastic sermon about Israel and about the conflict down there, and it got, I think, almost 4 million views on YouTube. A 45-minute sermon on Israel. It got 4 million views, and it was fantastic. And look, the Christians, you know, that are deeply embedded in their faith know this, and it's also important for you know, for us as Christians that are deeply embedded to make sure that the casual Christian, you know, the CEO Christian, you know, the CEO Christians.
Yep.
Christmas and
Is
Easter
that like
only.
Christmas, Easter?
Yeah, Christmas, Easter only.
I like that. Okay, CEO. All
So
right.
the
Yep.
CEO
It's
Christians
always packed in
understand-
church on Easter and
understand.
Christmas.
So
The
I'm
rest
out.
of the time.
So basically, I'm in the middle, and I'm outnumbered 2-1, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Just,
Absolutely.
but not for long. We've got some
Or-
other guests coming on.
I
do.
would say you're flanked.
Ooh,
I
flank
like
works.
that. Okay.
But here's what I
Larry's
want
hired.
the listeners to understand: that this is not only nonpartisan, and not only interfaith, right?
Yeah.
But what this really is to focus on all the reasons, like we talked about, that Israel is important, that we don't think is getting out there in
Yeah.
the press, because the press itself is, I think, an echo chamber of a certain narrative in the country, right?
Yeah.
Because the narrative is simple, and we've talked about it, Ericka.
Yeah.
Israel equals occupier equals bad.
Right.
Hamas,
Oppressor.
Hamas equals victims equals good.
Yeah.
Right? It was amazing to me that when Hamas killed the 6 hostages,
Yeah.
it was Israel's fault
Yes.
in the press, and it's just difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that it's not Israel's charter that calls for the extermination of another people.
Yes.
It's not Israel that uses children as human shields. It's not Israel that puts the weaponry amongst the, in their mosques and those kinds of things. So is he giving us a time check? I love that.
I think he is, because
Is this a time check?
I literally was just thinking, how are we gonna know when we should bring the next guests up?
Exactly.
But Larry, if you would just tell us a little bit, one more thing. You are incredibly passionate about politics and generally and about this country. What drives your love of this country and your desire to be involved politically?
Freedom, liberty. I believe strongly in the American experiment.
Yeah.
The ability for us to govern ourselves. What's interesting is, and I had this for an introduction, but I think I'm introducing somebody different.
Yeah.
But I get to bring it up here.
You can bring it up here. It's
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. So, Israel, the word Israel in Hebrew, it can be translated to governed by God.
Ooh.
That is what Israel means. It wrestles with God, but really the true meaning is that God is governed. That I'm submitting to God.
And that's the chosen people.
Yeah.
That's the chosen
That's
people.
the chosen people.
We're governed. Israel is a nation that is governed by God, and Israel gave us God gave Moses the framework to the Israeli people through Moses, through the Ten Commandments, which was the framework for every single Western constitution, every single piece of law that gives us, that acknowledges our God-given rights and freedoms, is based on is based on Israel, is based on the fact that Israel is governed by God, and being governed by God means that the government is below God, and that we, the people, are governed by God, and we hire government to just kind of administrate it.
Yep.
And that is the American experiment, and that's what I am passionate about.
I love it.
And I think we've gotten away from that. Well, Larry Ward, thank you for helping us put together Israel Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
It is
Hopefully
gonna-
someday you'll forgive me.
Next time I try to do something so civic-minded, just beat me over the head with a 2x4. That's okay. That's okay.
But you've done a really incredible job, putting this together and putting together some fantastic people. To
We
make
have
this happen.
great speakers lists from across the spectrum, but as we all know, success has many mothers or fathers, as the case may be, and it's been a team effort. I grew up as a baseball player. You need 9 people on the field for team sport, so we appreciate it. You are the man. Thank you so much
Thank you very much.
for all your help.
Thank you, Larry. All right. So before we go any further,
Where can they find Israel Appreciation Day?
IsraelAppreciationDay.com. Go get your tickets. Sign up. It's tomorrow.
And
Don't
if
wait. Don't
you're
delay.
in college, guess what? Because you're so important to the future, your tickets are for free. So contact your local Hillel or AEPI or the local chapter of ICC and say, where's my free ticket? IsraelAppreciationDay.com. It's a hell of a speakers lineup. Now, I know for you college kids, if you're listening, the Zoom days for you guys are probably over for a virtual event because you think now that you want to be on college campus, but you need to be armed with information when you're walking on college
That's right.
campuses as to all the reasons Israel's important. And when you need to be able to talk to people and explain to them what the river to the sea really means. Really, if you go into the Bible, it's the Euphrates River, but that's a whole different conversation about what it should really be. Will that get me in trouble with the
You
censors?
know what? Here's the deal.
That won't get me in trouble with the censors, will it?
Who knows anymore?
Okay. Well, you have 2 community strikes. I don't.
It's my fault.
Everything is your
It's
fault.
definitely my fault.
So, in any event,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can I? Okay.
Ladies first.
All right. I want to introduce you guys to one of the newest members of the team at Coalition for America of the People, Maria Bordenaro. Sorry, I mixed her names together. Would you come out?
Come here, Maria.
Come sit with us.
come sit with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Social Media Director for Israel Appreciation Day, Social Media Director for Coalition for America or American Coalition, Social Media Director for American Center for Education and Knowledge. She wears a lot of hats. Maria Bordenaro,
Thank you.
Welcome to Of the People.
Thank you. I feel like I'm on a game show.
You are. You kind of are. Okay.
She only gets the booby prize, though.
So-
She gets to talk to us.
That's true.
the
Now,
booby
behind
prize.
door number 1, no, just kidding. Okay. I wanted to make sure to get to introduce you to everybody because I want you guys to know that there is hope for the future. Maria, tell everybody how old you are.
No, don't tell. You never ask a woman. Wait. Is a woman allowed to ask another woman her own age? Because I know guys can't do it.
Yes.
Oh, then I'll stay out of this.
I feel like I'm young enough where I don't have to hide it. I'm 24 years old.
She is 24, you guys, and this young lady has been an absolute joy
And
to
for
work
the
with.
guys out there, she has a boyfriend, so
Yeah, sorry.
that's out.
Sorry, but now, Robert, you've obviously worked with her more, but we have just watched this young lady put in work. She got hired. She just has been
A rock
figuring
star.
it out. Yeah, whatever is
you.
being thrown at her.
We threw her into the deep end. Didn't tell her it was the deep end, and she hasn't run away with her hair on fire, so it's okay. We're doing okay.
So a little shout out to redballoon.com. It is a hiring website for conservatives. And so that's how we found you. So
Yes.
why don't you share a little bit, Maria, what it's been like for you to kind of, as a young person being out in the workforce, being able to get a job in politics, conservative politics.
Well, I'll be honest. There is a certain stigma against being a young person and being conservative. That's definitely for sure. But I didn't want that to hold me back. I feel like being authentic to yourself is very important. And why not have my career reflect that? I want to actually have a job that I feel like I'm making a difference, actually enjoy the people that I'm working with who have similar values to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what attracted me, obviously, to this opportunity, and I'm very, very grateful for it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely been a learning experience, but all good things. Like they said, I was, their words, thrown into it, not how I would describe it. I was given an opportunity, a very good opportunity, and it's been amazing.
That is awesome. Okay,
That's it.
so.
Is it my turn? Is it
No,
my turn?
yeah, you can go next. You
Can I go next?
You
Thank
can go next.
Okay. I love being we're usually remote. I love the energy being in the same studio
Yeah,
with you.
it's fun.
I love that.
It's good.
Israel Appreciation Day. How much did you know about Israel before the project started? What's your takeaways? What have you?
You stole it.
That was my
Oh,
question.
that's because, ladies and gentlemen, great minds think alike. So I knew where she was going. When you work with someone so closely for, has it been a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, almost at like a year and a half. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
So, can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Okay.
Go ahead.
Israel Appreciation Day. Not sure how much you knew about Israel before you started this, so I'm sure there's some learning there. And then, so what were the high points? What's your takeaways? And for people who are your age or age class, by the way, are you called the millennial or Gen Z? I don't understand all
I'll
those.
make this clear because you once called me a millennial.
A millennial.
I am Gen Z.
Gen Z,
I'd like to make that very clear.
Okay, got it.
He's so offended.
I have been duly corrected. Okay, I will never make that mistake again. Thank you.
Okay, so you're a Gen Z.
Yes. Well, I knew a little bit about Israel. Obviously, I'm not Jewish, so there's only so much that you can know. Interesting story. I was put in a lot of summer camps as a child because, my parents work full time. They actually enrolled me into the JCC camp for a couple summers, which, they accepted Jewish, non-Jewish children. And they would lead Jewish prayers sometimes. So definitely got a lot of Jewish friends from that and was exposed to the culture, but really didn't really know too much. But working with you and learning more about Israel, what is at stake with this war, you really do realize the significance of Israel, not just in the Middle East, but really for the entire world and for humanity as a whole. They do represent American values, and that's really what is at stake here. So,
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. And Maria has been heading up our social media outreach. One of the things that has been most gratifying to me in this process, and it's been a 5-month process, maybe?
I'd say so.
4 or 5 month process, is the groundswell of support around the country for Israel that we have seen. And really where we first tapped into this, where you first tapped into this, was on social media, wasn't it? So what are you seeing on social media? Because that really is, at least amongst Gen Z, I got that right?
Yes.
Just
yes, you
checking. At least among Gen Z, that's really where the first support came from, because it's certainly not coming on the college campuses.
No, certainly not. Well, first I can say my own college experience, especially being a communications major, we did touch upon social media and what it really does to a person. And I've seen it in real life. Social media is extremely siloed. People are in echo chambers and they really they feed off each other. It's very hard to break through. You would think on social media you're connected to millions of other people. You would be exposed to all different types of viewpoints and opinions, but it's really not true. That's not how the algorithms work.
It's terrifying.
So, you try to find your community. And again, you did mention we've had incredible support from everywhere. People have made a huge difference in making Israel Appreciation Day a success. However, on social media, especially trying to get through to younger people, they already have an opinion. They already believe certain things that are untrue. And that's been difficult. And obviously, this is what we're trying to do with the event. We're especially trying to reach the younger people because unfortunately, with how social media works, they're given a certain narrative with no context. Things can be altered, doctored. So it's very, very hard to get them the real story. What is Israel? They don't know.
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, sums up what we're trying to do with Israel Appreciation quite well. Whether you're Gen Z, millennial, or what's above millennial?
Gen X.
Gen X?
Yeah, that's me. I'm a Gen X.
Are you? What would that make me? Dead?
Boomer?
Dead?
I think you're a boomer.
Yeah, you're a
I think you're a
boomer.
boomer. Sorry, Robert. I hate to say it. But you know what I don't hate to say is that y'all can go to IsraelAppreciationDay.com, learn more about the event, get your tickets, okay? Find out more. Get your tickets. Find out more. You want to share them around to your friends, okay? Was that a good Trump?
That was a good Trump impression.
Was that a good Trump? I've been working on
I
my
caught
Trump
on
impression.
on
Is
the
that who
end.
that was?
Yeah. Lots. Israel Appreciation Day is going to be great. It's going to be the greatest. And so you should go check it out and wait to hear from our sponsor, Israel Appreciation Day, and to learn more about the event and sign up. Hopefully Ben has that queued up because I tried to give him enough notice to have that queued up. After
Why
he told-
Israel Appreciation Day? Because no one is telling the Israel story about why Israel's existence is so important, not just as a Jewish state and not just as an ally of the United States, but for all the positive achievements Israel has contributed to the world in science, technology, medicine, human rights, religious freedoms, rule of law, democracy, and so on. We need to start winning the public relations information war and change the narrative, especially among our younger generations. We need to get the information out there and arm those people who understand the seminal importance of Israel to the world. And being the Jewish homeland doesn't begin to tell that story of why Israel is so important. It's something we all can come together on, and honestly, it's something we all must come together on. It is imperative the general public understands the nature of the very special relationship between Israel and the United States and Israel's importance to the world. So please join us on September 18th as we celebrate Israel Appreciation Day. You'll also be able to find us live on all the streaming channels, including Roku, Apple TV, Dish Network, and others. Because never again is now.
Except for the gum.
Oh, wait, that was probably live. That was
Was
probably.
it?
Are we live? Yeah, we're
Oh,
live.
amazing. Well, that set the tone for the entire segment.
And my point is,
You
guys,
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Of the People, live on location in Las Vegas, Nevada at Worry Studios the day before
Yes.
Israel Appreciation Day, first ever live broadcast TV event, bringing together, as hard as this is to believe, bringing together both sides of the spectrum, nonpartisan, grassroots, interfaith, as we said, Jews just supporting Jews doesn't move the needle. And it was important to us because this has been such a collaborative team effort with so many people involved in making this a reality and success that you all get to meet some of the people besides Ericka and I who have been so fundamentally instrumental and important in bringing all of this together.
Yes.
We have now with us two of the most important people in bringing this together, Tracy Miller and Lori Feynman, who have worked so hard over the hours, mostly behind the scenes. And I have to be honest, they don't really want to be up here on stage, but we made them do it. So, you know, in the history of TV, in the history of books, there's always duos that work together, and Batman and Robin comes to mind.
Oh, wow.
You know,
That's
okay.
nice. That's okay.
Right?
Keep going. There's
well,
those are two that get along, though, I believe.
You guys don't get along?
Well, we started out as like frickin' frack or frenemies.
You're frenemies?
But now we actually really have an amazing working relationship.
Absolutely. That's
I
what
love this woman.
anyone who has put on one of these kind of events knows the kind of stress and intensity.
I had hair when I first started.
No, you don't lie. What? That's fake news. Come on. No, seriously though, you guys, I have seen Robert, just his work ethic and the way that he has focused on this. But you know, this is hard. It's stressful. It is high stress.
Yes.
And it's very easy for your emotions to kind of, you know, get all wee-weed up, as Obama liked to say.
Up. That's a good term.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so it's hard too when we're in different states.
That was the
We're
hardest
We're
part.
Zooming, and so the all you get is the intensity. And now that we're all together, the heart, the love, the passion, that is all you hear and see. Even in the intensity, even in the stress,
Through it all.
it's like you guys are so mission focused.
Yeah.
And so now you, Tracy, you come from a military family.
Correct.
So you're just kind of like, now, Lori, do you come from any kind of military family or anything?
No.
No, but you just, but you're still so, you are mission oriented.
Well, thank you for noticing that, because my friend Tracy here actually called me a useless volunteer.
No.
Oh, and by the way, this is a total volunteer effort. That's the other
Yes.
thing that people need to understand. This is from the heart. This is for people. This event is for all people who love Israel.
Yeah.
And we put down our differences and come together on the things that we agree on. But I want to ask Tracy you a question, because you are as I would call a DC veteran. You've worked in DC for many organizations. You've put together so many events. So on some level, this isn't new to you.
Correct.
But on some level, it's very new to you. So share with the listeners, I mean, what's new here that you said, this is something different, not just about Israel, but how this event is coming together. And I will be honest, ladies and gentlemen, without Tracy, without Lori, without Ericka, without Larry, without Maria, none of this happens. Everyone played their part. But you having such background in this really were a glue on a level that I don't think any of us really understood.
I appreciate that.
You were.
I think the biggest difference for me putting on this event, the events that I've put on over the past 20 years, has been the level of resistance that I've seen people demonstrate to an organization, an entity that wanted nothing more than to demonstrate appreciation from our greatest ally overseas. So something as simple as just wanting to express appreciation from the national security aspect, from the religious diversity aspect. I was shocked to see how many people were concerned about the potential fallout for putting their name on the event, to being nervous about what would happen if they hosted our event. Unlike anything else I've done in the past, there is a genuine concern for associating with people that are in favor of our support of Israel. And so that I think is the biggest difference. The second biggest difference, I think, is I've never before worked with somebody that was so undeterred by every roadblock that got put up in front of us. No matter what the roadblock was, no matter what the problem was, you kept going. You were like the Energizer Bunny.
Yep.
So
I believe they call that pig-headed.
A little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But that's
Depends on
what's-
what day it is.
But
That's
isn't
the thing.
that what's necessary in a
It
time
is.
like this? If we're gonna fight back against insane, tyrannical governments, if we're gonna fight back from bad rhetoric from our own president and vice president and presidential candidate, like we have to, as people, be bullheaded. We have to be the bulldozers to make sure we're getting heard. And so with that, with having that support, what was it like to just be like, okay, just keep going then. Just keep going. Like, what was that
And I
like?
want to add to that because I know, Lori, one of the things that has motivated you is the whole concept of fighting back.
Yeah.
You live in an area in the country, in Florida, that has high population of Jewish community.
Yes.
And truthfully, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but not a lot of them really are fighting back, right?
That's
And
correct.
here you are saying, you know what, I want to make a difference. I want to fight back.
Yeah, and that's what my drive was. So when it got very difficult, and
If you can get any closer
oh,
to
you
the
need
microphone.
me to go like literally
Lean
get really
in.
close?
Get-
Okay, how's
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin. I told you it was Batman and Robin.
So yeah, I every time we hit a roadblock, every time we had a disagreement, every time we were told no, that's what the passion was behind it. Was don't tell me no. We have to do this. We don't have a choice. There's not enough people standing up. And to Tracy's point, it was shocking to me how many people said no. But on the flip side, we have found some absolutely incredible individuals who have stepped up in ways that we never expected.
Yeah.
And it's actually been a very beautiful thing. Some who were Jewish, which, absolutely amazing. But even more remarkable sometimes are the ones who aren't Jewish, who step up, are willing to put themselves out there in support of Israel and for the whole West, and quite frankly.
Well, and I think you make a good point, and I think you brought this up maybe when Larry was up here. If it's just Jewish people up there trying to defend themselves, that only goes so far. Just, we need, I hate to use the word ally because I feel like that got kind of, cheapened with the whole Black Lives Matter stuff. But that's the truth. We as human beings, no matter what, can't stand on our own. And what is that expression you said, the Jews are first, but they're going to come for you? Or
Oh,
canary
yeah.
in the
We're
coal mine.
Exactly.
There's something you say a lot.
Is that if they're so what I'm fond of saying, not fond is the wrong word, but what I think the important point for America to understand
Yeah.
is that if Hamas and the pro-Hamas forces are successful in driving the Jews into the sea, as I said to a friend of mine, you're Christian? He would say, yeah. I said, you're next, right? Because
Yeah.
there's an old Middle Eastern or Islamic proverb that essentially says, after Saturday comes Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? So the Jews are, as you said, the canary in the coal mine.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
We're the tip of the spear. And that's why this isn't really even, ladies and gentlemen, about Israel per se.
Yes.
This is about Western values and
Correct.
Western culture.
Correct.
And even though the important thing for this event, Israel Appreciation Day, is really to highlight and focus and really celebrate Israel, not to ignore what's going on. I mean, there was just another exchange with Hezbollah today.
Yep.
And Israel is in an existential struggle. But it's also to celebrate all the things that Israel does that are positive that people don't understand,
Yeah.
because
Correct.
the narrative in this country, as we said, Israel is an occupier, they're bad. And the thing that galls me is there are genocides going on in other parts of the world that
With
no one
nobody's
covers.
talking about.
But, right, we're going this way?
Yeah,
But-
this is exactly what I'm saying. How can we sit, bro? We're sitting there.
Bro?
Am I the bro or they the bro?
Everybody's bro.
Wow.
The audience is bro.
Hey,
Everybody's
we're
bro.
gender neutral.
Okay.
I just want you to know we're gender neutral.
They're
flexible.
sitting there
Fair
saying,
pronoun,
genocide and we need a ceasefire and all this stuff, and yet 500,000 people are dead in Ukraine, and they're not calling for any ceasefire. They're calling for more funding to continue the war. Way more people have died in that
The Uyghurs
conflict.
in China.
What about
the
Bangladesh?
Hindus in Bangladesh. In
Africa.
Africa, the
Yeah.
Christians are being slaughtered by
They only care.
Is it?
Well, and I don't even
Syria
think that
or-
it's that. I think the big issue right now, what we're seeing, is that you've got students that are protesting on campus because they've been fed the narrative
Propaganda.
Exactly.
that there is a resistance that they can become a part of, and that ultimately there's a victim status out there that they've latched onto. What bothers me the most in this, and one of the reasons that I'm very excited that there is an Israel Appreciation Day, is the fact that there's so much funding from outside forces coming in, instigating these students. A lot of times they're not actually even college students that have infiltrated the campuses.
They're paid agitators.
They're paid agitators. They're given
organized.
equipment. They're given the organization. And the students, I think, genuinely believe the rhetoric that they're given rather than digging in to see that this isn't an organic uprising. This is a very carefully orchestrated fight on the left to bring down Western civilization. Most of the time, if you look into it, you actually see that it's a very Marxist communist
Yes.
approach.
Correct.
So, so now we have been accused of, being conspiracy theorists. We have tinfoil hats in the back. I think we need to make 2 more tinfoil hats because
I look good in tinfoil.
Good. You would look good in anything. Okay, I think the entire audience would agree that she would look good in
Oh,
anything.
you're very sweet.
Yeah.
This is her playing nice.
I am playing nice.
Right.
So I actually have a question, if it's okay. Lori, I've got
Yes.
a question for you, because something that you all were just saying was so important. These kids are looking for belonging.
Yep.
Okay? As a counselor, as a therapist, aren't you seeing that everywhere right now?
Absolutely.
Like that's, our friend Joe Elliott, who does has a organization called Catalyst. They do this thing called the Purpose Project.
Okay.
And what he says is everybody needs 3 things: purpose, belonging, and an identity.
Yep.
And a lot of times you get your identity from the purpose and the
Purpose.
belonging,
Yep.
right? And so what we have, particularly with generations of broken homes, are just lost kids
Right.
searching.
And what fueled that fire was, think about what happened during COVID, where we shut the world down, said we couldn't go and join our synagogues, churches, community centers, whatever.
Yeah.
And so here you have this lost population who's living behind a screen, who has no interaction with the real world. They're getting depressed, they're getting anxious, and oh, look, there's these online forums, groups, programs, projects, whatever it is, and they're accepting those individuals who really had nothing at that time.
Yeah.
And so they felt empowered, they felt excited, they met all these new people, and then they started communicating, belonging, they developed an identity, they developed a purpose, and here we are. That fed with the indoctrination that's happening in the schools, you have a perfect storm for what we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
And that's, how do we fix that?
You are asking the $1 million question.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that's happening in Israel. It's like you ask anybody there, what is the solution? And everyone's like,
But I want to jump in on that because you were recently in Israel before October 7th.
I was there before October 7th and after October 7th.
And yet, isn't it also true that what's being portrayed in the press, the U.S. press, is not really a fair portrayal
No.
of the unity?
Is that a surprise?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Okay,
was just
but-
wanted to be clear that we're working on the
this is
same.
but this is a U.S.
assumption.
audience that's listening.
Okay, I just wanted to
so-
make sure we were working on the same assumption
You're
here.
working-
So
Okay.
the press sucks everywhere.
I did
That's what
not
I
say
just
that
heard.
out loud, but thank you.
But I mean, really, well, look, all countries have their divisions and differences. From what I've seen and from and the people I've talked to on the ground, there really is the greatest sense of unity and purpose, at least in this mission. Once Israel wins the war, and I believe that they will, they may go back to being divided again on a lot of things. But this is an existential struggle, and what I don't think, and maybe you can speak to this because you've been there post October 7th, I have not, is the unity by and large across the country.
So I would say yes. I have not been there since March, and so I think that what I'm saying may look a little different because of the long-standing hostage situation, and so you are seeing more protests that are happening. But immediately post October 7th, the entire country put aside their political differences, came together. We're 100% in support of the IDF and other services going in and doing whatever they had to do, A, to get back the hostages, and B, to take out Hamas. Now, as that has continued. I think that in everything, the same way it happened here after 9/11, we all came together, and then as time went on, we got complacent.
Yes.
So we are probably seeing a little bit of that because it's happening. But by and large, they have come together for their right to exist and to hold on to democracy over there. So yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. You walk into that country, there are Israeli flags everywhere. You are seeing a love and support for IDF. You are seeing the posters for the hostages. And we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that here, and we're not seeing that on our media. So, I mean, I'm excited by Israel Appreciation Day because I think we're going to hear from some people who can speak to what's currently happening or not currently happening. But I do think we all have to take into consideration that what we're seeing is coming through the lens of, we talk about indoctrination, we talk about what happened during COVID, but we also have to understand that a way to take over the West is through media also, right?
Yep.
And so we have to
Propaganda.
make an assumption that what we're seeing on the media is a half truth.
Well, and that's where does propaganda come from? Where do you get propagandized? It's not like your cereal box or, you know what I mean? It's the media. It's music, it's news, it's the things that we consume. And so this idea that people like what did you say the other day, babe? We deserve better psyops than this. We deserve better I assume, like you said, I assume everything that I hear is a lie or at least not totally true.
So you assume that, but the average person assumes that everything that's coming off on social media is the truth.
And that's what
That's the mind-blowing part about it.
Are we just is it because we've had an experience that shows us that we can't trust the media and we can't trust the government? Like, do people just have to have bad things happen to them to get to where we are?
Well, I think there's a lot of ways to answer that, but I want to direct that thought process because, Tracy, you have spent 20 years in sort of the world of D.C., right? After 2004, I checked out of D.C. for a while because I was
which is the correct move.
I believe your expression was that even a blind squirrel occasionally finds
Finds nuts,
finds an acorn or something. My expression is even a broken clock is right twice a day. But what are you seeing in D.C. with regards to the Israel issue? How is it breaking along party lines, along sort of top versus bottom lines? Because it really, the whole issue of the Israel or the war with Hamas or just in general the sort of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party is really, there's a realignment going on, is there not?
Absolutely is. There's a realignment going on along party lines, but if there's anything that I can convey to your viewership is the fact that it is incredibly important that our policy leaders, that the elected officials hear from us to know that there is genuine support of Israel within their
Correct.
district. Because as much as, yes, it is along party lines, at the end of the day, our elected officials, I think for the most part, want to do a good job representing their people.
Agreed.
If the voices that they're hearing from what they believe to be their
Yes.
people are saying Palestinians are the victim, Israel's the oppressor, whether or not the representative themselves feels that way, a lot of them have to stop and think, is this the message that I need to adhere to? So I understand that people are nervous. They don't think they can make a difference. There's every list of reasons, right, why we decide to not get involved. It's the wrong decision. There is nothing more important right now than calling your member of Congress, than writing a letter, sending an email, and getting your voice out there. Even if you feel like it's not important, it absolutely is. So let me explain why. There is a person, I used to be this person, there is a person in every office that has a notebook, and a lot of them actually still do it on old-fashioned paper and pen. And when the voicemails are left at night, they're writing down on the piece of paper in the morning. This constituent called, they were expressing concern about this. And there's a tally kept. How many people called in this week that were concerned about my position on Israel, and they want to make sure that I'm supporting Israel? Your voice matters more than you think when it comes to dealing with your elected representative. And not mentioning any names, but I received 2 phone calls today from individuals who had been listed on our agenda as speaking in our event tomorrow that all of a sudden had things come up. Now, my sense is when everything was said and done, they had been advertised on our website as speaking in favor of Israel. My guess is they heard a lot of voices saying, this isn't what we want you speaking on, and so they pleasantly declined the opportunity to support Israel. The voices against Israel are louder than the people that genuinely love Israel, and I'm positive there are more people in America
my
that
gosh,
love
there has
Israel
to
than
be.
the others.
There has to be. Okay, you guys heard it here. If you are a supporter of Israel, if you are, as one of our guests said, if you're a Zionist, if you believe in Israel's right to exist, call your local representative, call your senator, call whoever you need to call. Call them, well, federal, senator and representative. Call Joe Biden, Kamala Harris if you want to. Let them know
Absolutely.
how you feel as well. We already know Donald Trump, former President Trump, is a strong supporter of Israel moving the capital or the embassy to Jerusalem.
The Abraham Accords radically, in a positive way, radically transformed the politics of the Middle East for the better.
So if you want to know who to vote for president, if you're concerned about the future of Israel, the choice is clear. Donald Trump. Donald Trump is it. So on that note, you guys, we're going to take a quick break, go to Israel Appreciation Day to get your tickets. You can get VIP tickets, so we can actually
We have
see
swag.
you. We have swag. It's going to be fun.
And if you get the $29.99 VIP tickets, you can actually watch it on repeat. And you get this image behind us from Albert Levy, who is an Israeli artist that we actually found on Instagram, who allowed us to use this as the backdrop for the virtual VIP members. So you get that, but you get 7 days of replay also.
Do you know his Insta?
Oh, not off the top of my head, but I will get it during break.
Okay.
And break
Good enough.
is now.
Break is now.
now. Break.
Why Israel Appreciation Day? Because no one is telling the Israel story about why Israel's existence is so important, not just as a Jewish state and not just as an ally of the United States, but for all the positive achievements Israel has contributed to the world in science, technology, medicine, human rights, religious freedoms, rule of law, democracy, and so on. We need to start winning the public relations information war and change the narrative, especially among our younger generations. We need to get the information out there and arm those people who understand the seminal importance of Israel to the world. And being the Jewish homeland doesn't begin to tell that story of why Israel is so important. It's something we all can come together on, and honestly, it's something we all must come together on. It is imperative the general public understands the nature of the very special relationship between Israel and the United States and Israel's importance to the world. So please join us on September 18th as we celebrate Israel Appreciation Day. You'll also be able to find us live on all the streaming channels, including Roku, Apple TV, Dish Network, and others. Because never again is now.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, live from Worry Studio in Las Vegas on the eve of Israel Appreciation Day, the first ever live TV broadcast, nonpartisan, interfaith, grassroots, focusing and celebrating all the reasons that Israel is important to the world, not because it's a Jewish state, not because it's a strategic U.S. ally, but freedom of religion, freedom of press, capitalism, democracy, rule of law, human rights, women's rights, gay rights, all the things that Israel protects. There's a reason that all the international press bureaus have their headquarters in Israel, because in all the other countries, freedom of press does not exist. So we would, however, like to introduce you to Ben Redic, who is the producer, the man behind the camera, because, you hear us talking to me, voice of God. Well, this is the voice of Ben. Most of the time, Ben is behind the scenes, but we wanted to bring Ben up, and we wanted to bring up someone else as well. If you guys make enough noise, or maybe we're going to bring up Larry Smith, president of Worry Studio,
Yay.
who without Larry, and I don't get up for anybody, just so we know, without Larry, we're not here today. Larry, have a
Have a seat, Larry.
Have a seat.
Wait, can I just, before
That's
you
amazing.
do all this major introduction for the star of this show, can I just give Albert's
Have we been able to
Insta?
deny you anything?
Pretty much no. So his Instagram, for those that are looking to acquire said art that is stunning, is albert.art5. So it's Albert, ALBERT art, A-R-T with the number 5. So reach out, tell him we sent you, and check out his art.
No, it's spectacular.
Isn't it fabulous?
Yeah, loved
It's
it the second
like
we got it.
amazing.
Yep. Yep. So good.
So I want to talk to you, Ben, and I want to talk to you, Larry.
Does that mean I can get out of here?
No, you're staying.
Oh,
You're my
okay.
security blanket.
Okay,
Yeah.
your security blanket.
He said he was only coming up on stage if
He's
you
a
were
smart
here.
man. I
Okay.
told
So
you that.
that's
I told
so
you that.
we really didn't want you to stay up here, but,
I know.
but you know what Larry wants, Larry gets.
That is
Okay.
true.
Wait,
That
he
is
just said
true.
that about you.
Well, but we're a package deal
Okay, there
here
you go.
right now.
So
the
I
L&L
want
show.
to
There you
start with
go.
you. First of all, thank you for everything you've done for
My
Israel
pleasure.
Appreciation Day.
Absolutely.
It does not become a reality without you.
True.
You are not Jewish. You recently went to Israel. You fell in love with the country, and I think, and you and I have talked an awful lot about it. Tell about Israel. What's your feelings on what was your takeaway? Because you really have to be there, don't you? If you haven't visited Israel, and
Yeah.
you came back.
Yeah, you know, that's where I've been telling you that with everything that's been going on since October 7, unless you've been there, you really can't say what is happening because you have no idea. Israel is such an amazing, special place in the world that is all-encompassing. It's all-encompassing of religions. It's all-encompassing of people, of different races. I mean, it's a magical spot.
Yep.
Right?
It's a good word.
And whether you're in Jerusalem, where it's really the seat of religion in many cases, or you're in Tel Aviv, which is the most modern city in the world that has everything that you could ever imagine, from old shuk to modern day beach clubs, it's all there. And everyone really lives in an amazing harmony there.
Yep.
Irregardless of religion, like I said. So what you don't know is my dad's Jewish and my mom is not. So I'm a mix, right? So I don't qualify for the club technically, but it's what's in my heart, right?
It is always about what's in your heart.
So what is in my heart and what is in my soul is the Jewish religion.
But going there changed you.
You know, going there changed me and my partner Artie, who is Muslim that wants to convert
Oh,
to
wow.
Judaism.
Really?
I love that.
Yeah,
Where's
right?
Artie when we need him?
Non-practicing,
Yeah,
clearly.
Artie.
Come on,
Right?
Artie.
Artie,
Where are
where are
you?
you?
Come
Come on,
on,
right?
join us.
Non-practicing, of course, because, you know, obviously being gay, he would, if he was in Iran, which is where he came from, he wouldn't exist today.
Right.
Because that's how they handle that stuff.
And in other countries.
And in many other countries,
than
and
Israel.
also
Other than Israel. Right.
Where you're
Exactly.
you're free to live life
Exactly.
on your own terms, as long as you respect the others.
That's right. That's right. So we went on a mission with Jewish Nevada, which is Federation, and we were able to spend 12 actually spectacular days in the country, going to the Knesset, going down into the temple under the Kotel. I mean,
Isn't that
if you've
incredible?
never
Oh,
done that,
That's incredible.
I mean, you have to.
It's amazing.
And when we went in June of last year, they actually found the original temple that they now are starting to open up.
Yep.
And they would have never
The
had
first temple.
the very first temple.
That's right.
Very first temple. So they would have never have had that opportunity to find it because of all the traffic that's up above, right, in the main square. But during COVID, the archaeologists could actually go down into areas that allowed them to excavate to find the first temple. It was remarkable. It was just remarkable. But, you know, you see everyone going. It's the craziest thing because you see everyone going into prayer at the wall. You see Muslims that are going up to the dome on top,
Yep.
but yet they're all crossing, which is the craziest part, right? You have everyone. You have politicians in the Knesset who are making decisions for the country, who are Muslim,
Yep.
right? And they're making the right decisions for the country along with their Jewish partners. it's remarkable to see what happens there.
And the thing that always amazes me is given the situation, even before the war against Hamas, it has always been a country of joyful people.
Joyful.
It has always been a country of people who focused on, I mean, look, they have disagreements, but they focus on what unites them. And what people don't understand is that Israel isn't really just a Jewish country, and
It's
you
not.
see that when unfortunately there are attacks like there was up in the north where the children that were
Yep.
killed were Jews.
That's right.
They weren't, and all they say, oh, it's okay because it's the Jews. First of all, I don't care what religion you are.
Doesn't matter.
It's not okay to do that, period.
That's right.
But that's what the people don't understand. I want to turn to you for a second because the other thing is you're an artist. You are a producer. You're a movie producer, right? And one of the things that Israel protects, we're going to run late if that's okay.
Ben's the one who has to edit the radio show.
Yeah. Well, we're going to let Ben ready.
Apparently, I'm going to be fixing it in post. It's
You can fix it anyway. You can fix it anyway. But as an artist, right, one of the things that Israel protects is artistic freedom of expression. We're going to actually have a panel on Israel Appreciation Day of some Hollywood celebrities to talk about that from their perspective. But what are you seeing in your amongst your colleagues in your profession? Because I know you have that movie festival that you put together and those things. Are they at all concerned that what's over there is going to come over here and stifle more than it already is artistic freedoms?
Unfortunately, I'm not seeing a lot of people overly concerned about that. Now, in big Hollywood, there are some names that we ran on the last show. People were expressing support for Israel and things like that. But as far as like independence, not as much as you would think. But interestingly enough, I haven't seen as much pro-Hamas support either. So I guess that's positive.
That's a positive.
We can take that.
Yay, not supporting terrorism. So I'll take.
Now, this is Ben.
I mean-
let me introduce you all to Ben, who's going to tell you what he really thinks.
Well, I did also. I don't even know if you know this, but I was a federal guard when we
did not know
when we
that.
deployed people to Iraq, and I trained as an actor, thespian. I helped train some of the troops before they went over to Afghanistan and Iraq, running scenarios on military bases. And then I got hired as a federal guard to protect our soldiers once everything kind of kicked off. So even like one of the shootings with, I believe it was Hassan, I just got enough work when that shooting happened. When I was in college, in that same span of time, I was studying terrorism because I wanted to understand what was going on, and because I hadn't thought about this stuff in great detail. And you get exposed to the type of evil in the world. And I think in
It's
America,
the right word. It's the right word.
I think in America we think of, right and left and disagreements on policies and things like that and social services. We don't normally zone in on this group legitimately, if they get a shot, are going to come in my house and wipe everybody out, women, children included. They're going to take hostages. They're going to, kill people before they can get rescued. That doesn't really register until a moment like what we're going through right now. So I think it's going to wake a lot of people up. I haven't seen a lot of it, like I said, online. I haven't seen a lot of it in the films or with the creators that I know. The Christian ones, though, and I'm in the stunt community, so there are a lot of those. In the conversations, you definitely do hear some things, but it's not as public.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Even though I'm not the moderator at all. in this.
You are whatever it is you want. You are whatever it is you want to be.
Moderator in the moment.
Okay, but Ben, what you were saying ties back to the idea of why are people waking up about anything? You said I read about terrorism because I was interested in it, and Ericka was saying, how come nobody's really getting this? Because people don't want to look at it. They don't want to open their eyes. Living in denial is a beautiful thing for a lot of people.
It's work.
Right?
It's work to be
Right. In
engaged.
order to be educated and engaged and open your eyes, it requires a lot. You have to go against the grain that people are afraid to do. They don't want to be visible. People are probably looking at this and saying, what is she doing? Going live on Instagram on something that is of this nature. You have to do it. You have to open your eyes, because the second that you open your eyes and you come out of denial, there's no way to discount and not see. It's like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. Once it's out, you can't put it back in, right? But it takes some kind of education component. It takes people to be committed to that. And that's what I loved about Israel Appreciation Day and why I wanted to get involved in it, because the end result of this, not only are we going to put it out there to the world it's not next Wednesday, it would be tomorrow,
Thank
which
you.
is a little frightening and causes me anxiety. So I was living in denial temporarily. But tomorrow, when it goes out there, yeah, it's going to be amazing. And, thousands and thousands of people are going to be exposed to our content. However, the important part is going to be after that, where we can use that content to push against the narrative in media, right? We can also use that content to give, as Tracy was saying, our congressmen, our senators, actual factual information that they can use for their constituents, as well as our colleges and universities, synagogues, churches, house of worship, just to have truthful fact and content that we can start opening people's eyes. And that's why I believe this program, more than almost any other program out there, is going to hopefully change that, I don't know, what's that word? The flow, the narrative, whatever word we want to use. And that's why I'm as passionate about it, because these people won't live in denial anymore.
I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot think of a more appropriate moment or statement is to end this podcast and tell you Israel Appreciation Day is tomorrow, September 18th, starting at 6:30 p.m. East Coast time, which I believe is still Eastern Daylight Time. I don't know if we've turned the clocks yet.
I don't
but
understand that.
Go online to IsraelAppreciationDay.com. If you're a college student, go through some of your local chapters. They probably have access to free tickets. If they don't, email us at IsraelAppreciationDay@gmail.com, and we'll take care of it if you're a college kid. I want to give my thanks to everyone who has made this a reality.
But especially Worry Studios.
And
Listen, it was
No.
our pleasure.
would you stop taking words out of my mouth? And especially this.
You said I could do anything I wanted.
Especially this gentleman here, Larry Smith, president of Worry Studio, which is where we are at and where we're going to be coming to you live tomorrow. Without Worry Studio, this event doesn't happen. So my thanks to you.
Oh, my pleasure.
For being there.
We need to get the message out.
You have been a
without
rock
question.
star.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us on Of the People. We'll see you tomorrow at Israel Appreciation Day, September 18th, 6:30 p.m. East Coast time. We'll see you then.